In a futuristic world where mass cyberization has happened and everyone is connected to the net, what's the difference between a game and reality?
There's only one way to find out, Dingo.
Right. Let's do this.
Alright, Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. This game is an adaptation of the manga and anime series of the same name. The original anime was far ahead of its time, easily one of my all-time favorites. The futuristic world full of cyborgs and computers, it's ripe for adaptation. The anime tackled everything from political conspiracy to sci-fi action and even deep philosophical concepts. The first movie was so good, it was a direct inspiration for The Matrix. And I'm talking about the good Matrix, not those other two movies, which we pretend didn't happen. The original movie had its own game adaptation for the PlayStation, and eventually inspired the Standalone Complex TV series that this game is based upon. The packaging is worth pointing out because, one, it's really shiny, and two, this game doesn't just have one cover, but if you open it up and look at the inside, there's a second cover there too. I guess you can choose whichever one you prefer. Complex is rated M for mature, while the original game was only rated T for teen. I was always curious about this because the original anime was full of violence, nudity, and cursing, but Standalone Complex was kind of tame comparatively. Well, kind of. Although the first game had a pretty suggestive opening. The Major's all wrapped up in cables like some sort of tentacle hentai porn, and she looks like she's having a good time to me. Damn! Oh shit, wait, let's dissect this image piece by piece. You're a solid steel tank, blasting your gun's load with one hand, while grabbing onto a statue's tit with the other. That would probably give Freud a nosebleed. Well, that just goes to show you that the rating system is pretty arbitrary, but that's enough background for now. Let's dive right into Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex.
Initiating dive sequence.
True to the Ghost in the Shell name, Complex has a cerebral story. While you don't get to see big-time antagonists like the Laughing Man or the Puppet Master, this game's plot focuses on some unusual events that lead you to investigate the Tohoku Autonomous Region. You switch between playing as Batou and Major Motoko Kusanagi, not to be confused with Major Misato Katsuragi, that's a different anime altogether. Since Togusa was the protagonist of the first game, it's good to see that all three of the main characters got their time in the spotlight. Richard Epcar and William Knight returned for the voices of Batou and Chief Aramaki. Mimi Woods, who did the original voice of the Major, was succeeded by Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, who gives the role the same masterful performance as her predecessor. You might recognize McGlynn's voice from her many other works, like Death by Degrees, as the voice of Nina Williams.
Well, that simplifies things.
And for those of you who might be curious, I have since unlocked those other costumes, including the wrestling outfit and the hilarious Tekken 2 model. Graphics have come a long way. The voice of Togusa was performed by Crispin Freeman, who was also in Death by Degrees as Alan Smithy, with a spot-on British accent. Because the English version of this game has such a veteran voice cast who also played the same roles in the Standalone Complex series, there's an extra level of authenticity for fans of the anime. Alright, let's jump in. The game starts you out at Nihama Pier. Fans of the show know that nothing good goes down at Nihama. What's going on this time? Is someone cloning Fidel Castro again, or kids selling human organs on the black market? Let's find out. Right off the bat, I can say that I love the controls. Complex uses a third-person shooter control scheme. A more recent game that uses this is like Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. The best part of this control system? You have full control over the camera. The camera looks where you look, and you can walk wherever the hell you want to. Going from a game like Red Ninja, where the camera is your constant enemy, to a game like Ghost is night and day. Even better is that Ghost uses plenty of ninja-like maneuvers like wall jumping and ledge crawling. Remember in Red Ninja when you couldn't make a single jump without worrying about falling to your death? You don't have to worry about that here! Like in Super Mario 64, wall jumping is so satisfying. Oh yes. Oh fuck yeah. It does take a little time to get used to the grab mechanics since you have to hold down the action button in order to grab onto ledges. While it may feel like a nuisance at first, I wound up liking the extra control. The only real drawback to this camera that I found, if you even want to consider it one, is that you won't be able to freely look around and see the front side of your character except at very specific times. This doesn't ultimately affect the gameplay, which is why I don't really consider it a drawback. It would just be nice to be able to see the front side of the character from time to time. Since the 4 D-pad buttons are completely unused during the game, they could have added a free camera mode. One other small camera addition that would have been great is binoculars. You know they carry them with, and it would have been really helpful to use them with the right stick button. Unfortunately, you have to wait until you get a sniper rifle. Overall, I still love the camera's functionality. Notice how Bateau becomes invisible in this tight passageway? It's so I can fucking see! Thank you! Unlike some other games I know. I've also played this game on an old TV and an HD TV. I did occasionally have some problems with the brightness on the HD TV, but what's this? Brightness control in the game? I fucking love you guys. I honestly feel like Ghost made a better ninja game than Red Ninja. Ghost isn't even a ninja game. Red Ninja had a lot of problems with it, but everything that I hated about it isn't a problem in Ghost in the Shell. It's unsurprising that Red Ninja's game company fell apart afterwards, but if any of them had been taking some notes from Standalone Complex, they probably could have moved that game up from being terrible to maybe mediocre. I'd be kind of interested to see if anybody could retrofit Red Ninja with Ghost in the Shell's control scheme. It'd be worth my time to check it out. There isn't exactly a lot of variety to the weapons that you find in the levels until you unlock the weapon select mode after beating the game. It can be hard to tell the difference qualitatively between similar guns, so a simple stat screen would have been nice. Powerful guns like the assault rifle never seem to have enough ammo, so the shotgun always winds up being my preferred secondary gun. I do wish that this gun had a little bit wider spread at close range. The wide spread in Operation Raccoon City made shotguns very satisfying. But often in the heat of combat, it can be a little hard to get that shot to line up. Once you've beaten the game, you can unlock a level select, infinite ammo, and a weapon select mode. Unlocking all these guns can take time, but it's worth the effort. Look at this laser! Holy shit! What is this thing?
Your standard issue big gun.
It makes the Spartan Laser from Halo look like the toy you use to piss off your cat. Sometimes I do have the problem that the reload and pick up weapon button are the same, and I accidentally drop the gun I'm using in the middle of combat. Shit. Later games fix this problem by having the player hold down the button for a little bit before picking something up, so it's a simple fix. There are other types of weapons too, like throwing knives and grenades. Boom! Boom! But the knives aren't very helpful unless your enemy is standing completely still. There's also the ability to do melee attacks, but it isn't really strong enough to rely on after the first couple of levels, and certainly not in a group of people. Generally, the combat is really fun as long as you keep some distance, especially with power weapons. Yeah, no scope. Power weapons also send bodies flying everywhere, which is a nice touch. Plus, sniper rifles leave a giant bloodstain wherever their guts come out. I guess there's your immature rating right there. For what it is, this game is executed very well, but I think a few small touches could have made it incredible. One of the most iconic elements about the Ghost universe is the Thermoptic Camouflage. While it is present in the game, it's a power-up that you have to find in the level, and it activates immediately. Right. Remember that time in the anime when they wanted to be sneaky and first they had to run out into combat in order to find their camouflage? I don't either. In the first movie, the Major just stripped down whenever she wanted to use it, and in the series, they could just use it whenever they wanted. Again, the D-pad is unused during the levels, so this could have been used for Thermoptics as a chargeable item that you could use when you like. This could have added a giant layer of strategy to the gameplay, but this pickup system is better than nothing. Although the sound effect it uses is pretty familiar. It sounds like a fucking lightsaber. This game does have a linear story and level design, but unlike with Red Ninja, there are usually multiple ways to get around, which makes exploring kind of fun. This game does have a few staged moments where you have to use certain skills to get around, but because you can use them at any point during the game, it feels natural and it lets you feel like you've accomplished something. Once you've beaten the game, there'll be 10 fans hidden in each of the stages, which gives you something to hunt around for. Finding all of them will unlock some of these guns, and it gives a little bit of replay value to the game. But the linear level design does get a little repetitive. Riding the old elevator, riding the same elevator again. Later in the game, you even get to play a level as one of the Tachikomas, kind of a throwback to the first game as the Fuchikomas. In general, though, the childish nature of the Tachikomas makes me wonder who they were marketing them to. It was kind of funny in the first game, but I felt like it was strange in the series. It was like they forgot about all the violence and the complex storylines. And yes, I do realize that the youthful AI learning about life is a social commentary tool, the way that Third Rock from the Sun was a commentary about humans being told from aliens' perspectives. The main difference is that Third Rock from the Sun was funny. But they even acknowledge in the game that it's infantile and annoying.
Yeah, comic antics can come much later. Huh?
That being said, they did a fantastic job animating the Tachikoma's spider-like movements. Everything has great attention to detail, from the Major's running and dodging, to giving Batou some ink with his third costume. Levels that are played with different characters can be seen in the backgrounds of each other. This creates the illusion that there's an interconnected overworld, which is very subtle and nicely done. There are some minor things that could have been improved, though. A mini-map would have been great in several of these levels, and it probably would have given these surveillance cameras a little bit more practical of a use. Ghost hacking level 3 enemies is rarely worth the effort. And I noticed when you choose the options menu, the game's background sound effects kick back in. It doesn't really affect anything, it's just weird. Also, if you're in a sub-menu, you can't just press triangle to back out, you have to select the exit tab. And I'm lazy. That tells you how good the game really is when I have to look at minor mechanics to find a fault. The gameplay is fun and the story is great and it looks good too. If you missed a part of the story because you were in combat, there's even a communication log that you can view to catch yourself back up. The only major downside to this game would have to be the music. The series and the movie are renowned for their iconic soundtracks, but strangely the music in the game comes across really repetitive and kinda dull. And I'm a fan of electronic music. Even the first game had a great soundtrack that gets you pumped to play the game. But in Complex, it just sort of feels like the music was an afterthought to the game. I guess that's about it. Overall, a great game. A few key improvements could really move it up to being a hidden gem, though.
I'm forgetting something, Dingo.
Alright, there is a multiplayer mode too.
Hey, selected.
Oh, no. Last time you were the person and I was the machine. It's only fair if this time we switch roles.
Very well, human. Armored suit selected.
Alright, let's do this. Wait, shit, what, you have rockets?
Infinite ammo, Dingo.
How is that even fair? Alright, I got a grenade launcher. What? Fuck, I'm out of ammo! Shit, maybe I can get away from you up there. Fuck, I can't get up there! God damn it, did you just beat me to death with your bare hands, Prism?
Good game, Dingo. Way to reclaim your pride.
No one likes a gloater. Ghost in the Shell ranks pretty high in my book. The controls take a little bit of time to get used to, but once you have them mastered, they're fluid and it feels pretty good. The multiplayer mode needs a lot of work, it's very unbalanced, and several of the maps need to have a radar in it. But the campaign mode is great, it has a good story, and it lives up to the legacy of the Ghost in the Shell series. So fans of the anime, it is worth your money to check it out.